And welcome back to the Film Reelcast. I'm Stu, your host. As usual, it's that time of the week. It's Mandalorian time. We're on Chapter 12 of The Siege. And before we get into this, just a reminder, please subscribe to this channel if you like what you see. Subscribe, leave your comments. It's really great to talk to everyone who's watching these reviews just to get your opinions. And also, quickly, we've got the audio podcast on Android and on iTunes. Just look for the symbol just there, the Film Reelcast. Click and subscribe. There's no ads, there's no fees, it's all free, and it's just talking about films. And just before we get into this, just a reminder, this is a reaction review. What I do is I just watch what's happening, then I review it. I don't know it, I haven't seen it before, so it's new to me, and it will just be my initial reaction of what's happening. Sometimes, as you've seen on previous episodes, I do get quite excited. I can't contain my excitement for Stormtroopers, for extra Mandalorians, for any new characters or anything that's a bit of nostalgia as well. It always gets me really excited. So I've got no idea what's going to happen in this episode, and it's just a pure reaction review to what I'm seeing. Okay, so if we remember, our heroes are on their way to Corvus. It starts off a really cute scene. They're on the Razor Crest, and remember from last episode it sustained quite a lot of damage. And you've got the child in this small compartment trying to fix these two wires together, and you've got Mando trying to tell him, swap the red wire to the blue wire, don't let them touch. It's a really cute scene, and the baby noises coming from the child are just so lovely, and it's a really comical moment. I think what makes it so special and so clever is that, remember, Pedro Pascal, you just don't see his face, but he still manages to bring the element of comedy just for his voice and for his actions and body language, and he brings that onto the screen with the child, and it's so funny because he tells him don't touch those wires together, one's positive and one's negative, and you know he's going to do it, and he does it, and he fries those circuits, and through the hatch that he's looking at, just this smoke comes out, and it's just such a lovely, cute, funny little scene. And through shorting all the circuits, Mando says to the child, how about we go and see some friends in Navarro? And you know they're going there. They're going there to get replies, and they're going to go and meet Cara Dune, played by Gina Carano, and Greef Karga, played by Carl Weathers. Two characters who are in the first season who are really great, interesting characters. Okay, talking of Gina Carano, she's in the next scene. We've just seen her. It starts off with these monsters. I don't know who they are, but they're arranging to eat this poor little kind of meerkat creature, and just as they're about to tuck into this, you see Gina Carano appear from the distance, and there's a shootout, a fight, a really great fight. So one thing she does really well is kick people's ass, and she does this in this scene, and she takes everyone out, and she says she needs to return the belongings, the coins, the treasures back to its rightful owners. So you learn that she's not taking it for herself, she's not a thief, but she's taking it back. So maybe someone's hired her. Maybe we'll find out who that is later on. But she rescues all of the treasures, and she rescues this poor little meerkat that was going to be eaten. Great scene, really good introduction, a nice fight scene just to kick us off into this episode. So Mando and the child have just landed on Navarro, and they're greeted by their old friends Greef Karga and Cara Dune. So Greef Karga has asked his men to repair the Razor Crest back to its former glory. You can see by the look on one of the workers' faces that this is going to lead to something bad. That look on his face, despite it being an alien face, you know something's going to happen. So you can instantly see the town of Navarro looks like a very different place. There's marketplaces, there's shops, there's people walking around, and there's families about. A really different place compared to when the Imperials were there ruling it with an iron fist and zero tolerance. As you can see, they go into the bar, which was the focal point of the shoot-up of the last season, and they've turned it into a school, teaching all the children. Looks like a C-3PO unit. Is it the C-3PO? Is it a copy? I honestly don't know. Hopefully we'll find out more information, or whether it's just another droid that looks like the classic C-3PO. I'll tell you something, they put the child in the class. This teacher is moving exactly the same as Anthony Daniels is when he plays C-3PO. I've got a feeling this is an old 3PO unit. I mean, as you can tell, I'm quite excited by this. It doesn't take much. But my only doubts, my only reservations that this could be the original C-3PO is that, if you remember, George Lucas said by the time it was A New Hope, 3PO was over 100 years old. As we know, 3PO was built on the planet Atha 100 years before the invasion of Naboo. So the timeline doesn't really match. I'm talking myself out of it now, actually. So I think, as I say, I've never admitted to being the greatest Star Wars fan with regards to knowledge-wise of everything that goes on. But I think Anakin built 3PO from found scrap. As in, 3PO was already built and he was just taken to pieces and he rebuilt him. So that adds a bit of history there. But this possibly could be 3PO from the original Star Wars, but I'm really not too sure. There's so much in the books to what Lucas says that doesn't match up the timelines, it's hard to tell. But it will be lovely, just for nostalgia's sake, that this could be the original C-3PO. Absolute classic use of the Force manipulation that everyone would do. The child is in the class, the child next to him has got some macaroons. And she's sitting eating them. She's not offering them out, as children don't. And the child looks like any other child looks when he really wants something that he can't have. And he uses his Jedi skills to turn the packet around and take the biscuits from right under her. She realises they're gone, turns around, and as you can see from the picture, the child is just sitting there, proud as you like, eating those biscuits. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So whilst the child's in the class, Karga takes Mando away. Takes him to this other room where Lithrol's there. Lithrol, if you remember, is the character from the original one who was taken. You can see by the look on Lithrol's face that he's not happy to see the Mandalorian back in town again. So they want to talk business with Mando. Business means, as usual, another quest, another mission for him to go on. What's it going to be this week? And Mando's shown a map of Navarro. You've got the green side, which is the safe zone. And then he's shown the red side, which is the danger zone. The zone that no doubt he's going to have to go for a mission. The red zone is an Imperial base. It's an old base that's been abandoned. But you learn that there's troops still there. And there's an armory as well, which is stocked. What they want is rid of all of those troops, rid of all of the armory, which they'll probably take for themselves. So the planet is free of the Imperial control that it still has on them. And then the people of that planet can be free as well. Again, it's a mission that comes head to head with Imperial troopers. So this should be a really good episode. So they say that base is powered by a reactor. If they can break in, overload, destroy that reactor, then they can escape again. This reminds me, strangely, of something else that happened in Star Wars. Okay, they're trying to break in to this building. And Lithrol's trying to use a torch. And he stops because he hears a screaming. You can see they all look up in the air. And suddenly, of all the things, a stormtrooper comes crashing to the floor from the sky. So they get in the lift, get to the top floor to find the reason for this. No surprise, is Mando is kicking ass, chucking stormtroopers off the top down to the floor. Brilliant. So our heroes break into the bridge of this station, with Cara Dune doing what she does best, choking out one of the guards. So they find the lava, and Lithrol gets the unenviable task of having to try and overheat this core. So they've got 10 minutes to escape the base. That is 10 minutes that they can have fighting stormtroopers, hopefully fighting biker scouts. As they went into the building, there was loads of the biker scout bikes actually put up in a row. Hopefully that will be a hint or foreshadow of what's to come during their escape. And as you can see from that picture, there are stormtroopers. There are lots of stormtroopers and calling for backup. Hopefully people are going to start to kick ass. So they've just taken out these two guards, and whilst they were taking them out, one of them said to the other one, destroy it. And as you can see from the picture, he was shooting that control console. This was a bit disappointing. There were 4 of them from about 15 foot away who could not shoot these 2 soldiers. And it's a bit, I don't know, it's just a bit frustrating. It would be nice for them to come in, especially Mando, just to take both of them out. He's done it before. He's done other things from further away. Why it was so difficult to shoot both of these 2 goons, I really don't know. So it turns out that it's not a military base of sorts, that it's a laboratory, and there's something, as you can see, floating around inside of this water chamber. Whether it's alive or dead, we're yet to discover, but it's a base where they're experimenting on people. Who they're experimenting on, I hope we find out. So the hologram pops up of Dr. Pershing, who stole Baby Yoda in Season 1 to carry out experiments on him. And his message, you clearly learn, is to Moff Gideon himself. And when he talks about the M count, I take it he's talking about midichlorians that he's injecting into fetuses to try and grow possible other Baby Yodas. And it's quite interesting that they bring midichlorians into it, if that's what they're talking about. Because since Anakin, that they completely roasted, beasted, hated midichlorians and the midichlorian count. And there's often, as you can see, any Star Wars fan will know from forums with regards to if the midichlorian count is real, if people do have midichlorians, or if it's a gift that you're born with regards to being a Jedi. The midichlorians has been ignored and hated for a number of years now. So it's interesting that they brought midichlorians into this one. So this appears to be why they want the child to grow other editions of the child, or use kind of like Universal Soldier, where they have super soldiers who can shoot and use the Force at the same time and be the ultimate soldier. I'm not too sure, but that's the way from like Clone Wars and things like that they'll probably go in, that Moff Gideon wants to grow some kind of super soldier. So what they learn is the transmission is not old, that it's 3 days old. I mean, as we know, but obviously Mando doesn't, that Moff Gideon is alive and kicking. So Mando suddenly realises, with regards to Moff Gideon being alive, that you must get back and get the child. So Mando runs to just where they were when they turned up the heat of the core, and he's chased by stormtroopers, and in a really well shot scene, he escapes, shooting up through his jetpack, being shot at by stormtroopers, but he escapes. For a minute I thought we were going to have a scene similar to where Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia were in the Death Star and they threw that cord and they escaped from one side or the other in that famous swing shot. But no, he escapes using his jetpack, and yes, I'm excited. Okay, yes, I'm smiling because it's brilliant. There's an amazing scene where Mando runs to escape, and as he's running, he uses the controls on his arm to control his jetpack, and he just runs and flies off. And the cinematography of him, the way it's shot, flying off this cliff, a picture wouldn't do it justice. It just has to be seen. It's a terrific, brilliant shot. So other three heroes are on the roof where they first came into the building, and they're trying to escape, and they're trapped on the roof by stormtroopers. As you can see, it's a really terrific shootout. And if you remember, Littoral said that these will be worth a fortune on the black market. I've got a feeling the only way off the top of that roof is in the Trexler Marauder. Nice foreshadowing from the start, which is coming back for our benefit and bonus. So yes, as I thought, I know you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to work this out, but led by Cara Dune, they escape in this Marauder. A terrific shot of this Marauder driving down the corridors of this base. It's really, really good fun. So with the three of them screaming and stormtroopers diving out of the way, they drive the Trexler off the side of this base, landing on top of the speeder. It's a really fun scene. The look on their faces as they plummet into the ground is priceless. Yes, I'm smiling again because I'm excited again. Just when you think this can't get any better, they're now being chased by a group of biker scouts on speeder bikes. Absolutely brilliant. When I first saw Return of the Jedi, seeing those biker scouts on those speeders chasing through that woods is just fantastic. The imagination, the excitement, the fun of that scene, that's always stayed with me, and to see these characters back again is brilliant. Bringing the nostalgia, bringing the quality characters back into these episodes is such a winner for me. So our heroes in the Trexler are now being chased by three biker scouts. I've got a feeling this is going to be a fun, exciting chase. So we've got Grief Karga at the back of this Trexler, loaded up with a tracking system similar to X-Wing, similar to the gun turret on the Falcon, trying to shoot these biker scouts. It's already exciting, and a bit of wee is coming out. I'm that excited that they're in this scenario. Okay, so the three biker scouts are in pursuit. They get taken out one by one. The final one is on the roof of the Trexler, and he's just about to drop a grenade, Indiana Jones style, inside of this massive tank. when Grief turns round on this targeting turret and sees this figure of the biker scout about to drop the grenade, and as you can see from the picture, bang, a huge explosion, and he takes him out. It's a really fun scene. It's so good. So just as our heroes think they've got away with it and they're escaping, they hear that formidable, the famous and terrifying noise of the TIE fighters flying behind them. And Grief sees on his tracker 4 TIE fighters on their tail. So what we've got now is a fantastic TIE fighter chase through this canyon, just like the Death Star. Very reminiscent of that. The TIE fighters are flying through this canyon, shooting at this Trexler. You've got the noise, you've got the guns, you've even got, as you can see, the TIE fighter pilots. The original TIE fighter pilot I had from the 77 film, for some reason, smelled of strawberry. Still does to this day. But that's just a fact there. But this scene is a fact that it's fantastic. So there's 3 TIE fighters remaining. And just when you think time's up, the gun is destroyed due to another TIE fighter crashing on it, back of the Trexler. There's 3 of them closing in. And now something has just taken one of the TIE fighters out. There's something else out there taking them out. I've got no idea what it is, but I know I'm going to be excited regardless of what it is. Yes, and as promised, I am excited. It's the Mandalorian in the Razor Crest with the child who's still eating that packet of biscuits he took from the child. They've saved every single person. There's such a great scene where Mando tells the child that hold on, and he goes vertical after this TIE fighter. And you see, sitting behind Mando is the child with both hands in the air, making this kind of gasping noise like he's on a roller coaster. It's so funny and so sweet. And there's such a great visual. You've got the Razor Crest playing chicken with this TIE fighter. They're both flying towards each other, shooting. And Mando takes him out, and it's such a great scene. You've got Baby Yoda still holding on to that biscuit, just laughing. And the element of comedy they've brought to this, and kind of the young immaturity and fun that the child is now having, is really bringing extra excitement to this series. Such a great scene. Just after they take out the TIE fighter, Mando turns round to the child and says, "Not too bad, eh, kid?" And because all the flying turning left and right and upside down, the child just pukes up the biscuit he's just eaten. It's so funny. So the episode ends with an Imperial ship. And unsurprisingly, you see that character who was there to fix the Razor Crest. And as predicted, he's fixed a tracking beacon. And this captain goes to see Moff Gideon, and you know what's coming, you know what's next. A tracking device has been fixed, so they know where he's going, so they can go and get the asset, the child, as they call him. And as they pan away, as mentioned previously and as suspected, they are making, out of the midichlorians that they want from the child, some kind of super soldier stormtrooper. And you can see loads of them, Universal Soldier style, packed, ready to be inserted with the midichlorians, so they can then carry on like a super army. Okay, so this was a really good episode. Last week's episode, The Heiress, was fantastic. It was virtually faultless. This one, for me, is the same again. It's packed with action. The story is really taking a direction now. You know why they want the child. They want to take the midichlorians to make a super soldier. But along the way, to have the stormtroopers, to have the biker scouts, and the action, the chase and the flying scenes are really exciting. It's terrific fun. It just makes you glued to what's happening, and it flows fast, and I think the episode's just over 36 minutes long, and to have that much action along with the storyline is so clever. It's so well written. And again, for this, credit goes to Jon Favreau, who wrote this, and Carl Weathers was the one who directed this. Okay, so that's my review of chapter 12, called The Siege. Fantastic. You need to see this to really appreciate the special effects and just the way it flows. But if you haven't got Disney, this is just as good. I'll keep you going along with the story. Remember, it's a reaction. So sometimes you'll see me extremely excited, as previously, and sometimes you'll get a negative reaction. So far, I haven't had that. But just before I go, please subscribe. Please tell everyone else about this podcast. I'm trying to make it grow. And it's great fun. I really enjoy doing it. We've got Cobra Kai. I'm nearly finishing season 2 of Cobra Kai. I've got The Shield. I'm soon to do Lethal Weapon. And obviously, every week, got The Mandalorian. Every Friday, that's out. Okay, I'm Stu. Thanks for watching, and I will see you very soon.